Good morning and welcome to Drum Corps Central, a podcast. I am a 13-year-old drum corps superfan who loves all forms of the marching arts. Thanks for watching the podcast today. There will be an almost daily episode of this podcast recapping the previous night's drum corps scores and looking ahead. Today is Monday, July 2nd, 2018, and last night there were 3 shows in Massachusetts, Wisconsin, and California. Tonight, not everyone competes like they did last night, but we have a majority of DCI's world-class corps competing tonight across Arizona, Minnesota, and up in Massachusetts. So let's get started. So first up last night was Lawrence, Massachusetts, and the East Coast Classic. In open class, the Spartans and 7th Regiment both were in their first shows of the 2018 summer tour. The Spartans finished first with a 58 even, and 7th Regiment comes in second with a 53.8. Yesterday I said if the Spartans could get like a 55, that'd be great for them. Excelling at that and then getting 3 points more, really good for the Spartans. I said 7th Regiment, try to be close to the Spartans. Not that close. 4.2 off of them, but I said be close to that 55 mark. They were a 53.8. Then in world class, the Bluecoats and Carolina Crown met up once again, and the Bluecoats won by a point and a 10th. So the obvious favorite right now, at least out of those kind of East Coast corps, is the Bluecoats. Carolina Crown would be second, and I think the Boston Crusaders would be third. But look at something here. The Bluecoats and Crown, that's 1.1 both ways. Crown to Boston is the same margin, 1.1. So as we're going to see in the leaderboard in a minute, the Boston Crusaders are actually 5th right now, and they could actually go to 4th if they had enough to defeat Carolina Crown. I don't know if they have that right now, but I think once these corps start adding things in, Crown, you saw the other day, if you watched the Muncie show or have seen them since, they added their closer in that night. That's not really affecting their score that much. The Bluecoats, I don't think they've even put a closer on the field yet, and they are still above Crown. So it helped Crown a little, I guess. 1.1 was better than what they were. But I think the definitive top 3 on the East Coast is Bluecoats, Crown, Boston. Cadets would, I think, be 4th. Yes, they'd be 4th. 73.8. 3 points. I said yesterday it was 1.6 on Thursday night in Pittsburgh. Now it's back to 3 points between those two. And then Spirit in 5th. We'll talk about them on the leaderboard in a minute. Now let's take a look at the East Coast Classic scoring recap. Open class, the Spartans dominated. They got all first places, no 2s in their whole column. 7th Regiment, same, but with all 2s. And then over in world class, just a few things I want to point out. General effect, it's 1, 2, 3. Over in visual, Bluecoats, Boston, Crown in visual proficiency, and then 1, 2, 3 in visual analysis, but back to that 1, 2, 3 with Boston in second in color guard. The Boston Crusaders actually beat Carolina Crown in visual 22-8 to 22-7-5. So that's part of where they got that little boost. I mean, it was only 0.05, but it's a little bit of a boost. And then over in music, Carolina Crown, they win brass. The Bluecoats win music analysis. And then Crown wins percussion with Boston coming in second. 2/10 from Crown to Boston and 2/10 from Boston to the Bluecoats. So yes, the Bluecoats are in front, but when it comes down to music, Crown is definitely in front in brass and in percussion. And then also I just want to point out the cadets have this 1-3 here in brass. That could, and they're only a 10th off in brass. They could actually pull ahead of the Boston Crusaders in brass by maybe the end of the week, if not later on the tour. Next up, Lacrosse, Wisconsin, and River City Rhapsody. All age class, the Governor scores 62.7. Open class, River City Rhythms 47.3 in their open class season debut. Then in world class, not much other than the Crossmen and Blue Stars being only a tenth away from each other. I'll break that down on the recap because, and that's kind of it, other than Madison and Colts, because that's only a point. So Phantom also, you see there, they're actually moving, looks like 2 points away from Crossmen and Blue Stars. They're putting them in their rear view mirror, and they're focusing on just pulling away. And really, when you look at the leaderboard, maybe they'll have to deal with the Mandarins. I think that'd be great for the Mandarins, but I think Phantom is in 9th, Mandarins 10th, and then this battle for 11th between the Crossmen and Blue Stars. Now let's take a look at the scoring recap for River City Rhapsody Lacrosse. So here it is. Not going to break down anything in all age class or open class, but down in world class, Crossmen and Blue Stars. In general effect, goes to the Crossmen by a 10th. Visual proficiency, Blue Stars. Visual analysis, Crossmen. Color guard, Blue Stars. So overall visual, actually though, because of that lead that they have, that 3/10 in visual analysis, overall visual actually goes to the Crossmen. Then over in brass, Crossmen 3rd, Blue Stars 4th. Music analysis, same thing. Over in percussion, the Blue Stars gained by 3/10. They actually win overall music in that head-to-head by 0.05, 20.5 to 20.45. And then Madison and the Colts. Just some places where the Colts actually got that 5th. They get 5th in visual by 0.15. That's big for the Colts. But over in music, they kind of can't pull it off against Madison. Only a music analysis there. So there's still a point for the Colts to make up, but I think they can. So then lastly, last night, we had Riverside, California, and the Western Core Connection. Open class, nothing big changes. We add Vessel back in. They were in Oceanside on Friday, but not in Pasadena on Saturday. And the only other thing is that the Watchmen passed Impulse 49, even to Impulse's 48.65. Now, some of these cores here, Vessel, Watchmen, Incognito, they don't go to open class championships in Michigan City. The other 3 are this year, but those 3 don't. I just want to point something out. Say Vessel, if we look at this on a big scale, I'll bring the open class leaderboard into this later this week. But if we were to look big picture on this, Vessel would actually make open class finals right now. I think Watchmen would too. And I mean, I don't know if Incognito is really in that position to do that, but between Vessel and Watchmen, they would both be open class finalists. And I'm just saying that because they're just to say how good they are, just to say that really Vessel's only 3 points away from Golden Empire. Remember, Vessel used to be City Sound, but now they're Vessel, and this is a new core. Basically, they haven't competed since 2013, and they're going 3rd and would be an open class finalist, right? I think that's super impressive on Vessel and Watchman's part right now. That's it for open class. Then in world class, Santa Clara Vanguard, they get the victory once again. Nothing actually changes here. Basically the same margin for Vanguard and the Blue Devils. The Mandarins break 70, and the Troopers continue kind of to grow that lead on Pacific Crest. That's kind of it for world class at Riverside. Now let's take a look at the scoring recaps for Western Core Connection. So first open class, just to kind of look want to look at Watchman and Impulse. Let's take a look at them. So general effect, it actually Impulse is 4th, Watchman 5th. Visual proficiency, Vessel actually goes 5th, so Watchman 3rd, Impulse 4th. Visual analysis, Watchman Impulse, color guard, Watchman Impulse. Overall visual, Watchman 4th, Impulse 5th. Nothing big there. Music, Watchman 3rd, Vessel 5th, or Vessel 4th, Impulse 5th. Vessel 3rd, Impulse 4th, Watchman 5th in music analysis. And then Golden Empire suffers in percussion, a point back of gold, 9/10 actually, but whatever. And then Vessel 2nd, Watchman 3rd, and actually Golden Empire 4th. Impulse comes in 5th there. Then over on the world class side of things, Blue Devils win color guard and they win percussion, which is, I guess, a little bit of a surprise. I guess you could say that's a surprise because Vanguard's percussion has been historically good over the years, and for the Blue Devils to defeat them, that is surprising. That's all I'm going to break down on the world class side of things. Now let's take a look at the world class leaderboard for this morning. Just take a look down at the bubble. I mean, Bluecoats continue to lead by 0.25 over Vanguard. Then the Blue Devils crown Boston Cavaliers. Boston passes the Cavaliers. That's big. But down at the bubble, if you will, it's about a point either way between the Blue Stars and Spirit. Spirit definitely coming out strong this year. Madison's really struggling down there in 15th. I don't know if they're going to make that back up, but this week's really when we start seeing cores from the East and West, if you will, come together, and they are going to start performing and competing against each other. We really start seeing that in Minneapolis at the end of this week. The Blue Devils join cores like the Cavaliers and the Blue Stars, not like they're any threat to, not like the Cavaliers are a threat to the Blue Devils, or at least I don't think they are, but we definitely start seeing that this week, and then that's the rest of the summer. So these first 2 weeks, the regional, they compete in the East, Midwest, and West. And then as July progresses, we start seeing everybody just competing against one another. You see now at the bottom there, the 3 cores that have not competed yet. Oregon Crusaders, Seattle Cascades both start in Vancouver on Friday, and Surf starts in Lexington on Saturday. Now let's take a look at tonight's shows for Monday, July 2nd, 2018. Lynn, Massachusetts and the Beanpot. Some things to watch out for here. Does Boston continue to gain and potentially, I don't know if they will, but potentially get really close to Carolina Crown? And also kind of what I meant when I was writing this down as something to watch is, does Boston continue to gain on the Cadets? Is it 3 points or does it go up? I think the Cadets can gain on them, but I think that 3-point margin is kind of where it is right now, and I think it's kind of where it's going to be until everybody starts adding things in. But I think really where Boston is getting Crown. I think that 1-point margin is big for them. I also have here, could Boston catch Crown? I don't think it'll happen tonight. I don't think it'll happen this week, but maybe by later on this summer, maybe it will happen. And also, could the Bluecoats break 80? All these guys are battling back here. The Bluecoats, they gain a point every night. They're at a 79.05 yesterday. Can they break 80 and be the first core to do so this season? We'll get a look at that tonight. A few notes for the Beanpot. It's at Manning Field in Lynn, Massachusetts. You see the weather there. It's an air quality alert all day long from 11 a.m. this morning to 11 p.m. tonight. It could be hazy conditions from about 8 p.m. onward. Starts out pretty good, but then it goes into that hazy weather as the night of shows progresses. So that is all you need to know for the Beanpot. Then Mesa, Arizona, and Drums Across the Desert. You see two Sound Sport teams here, an open class corps and the Watchmen, and then those four world class corps. I would say watch out for the gap between the Academy and Mandarins, but I don't think there's really any threat to anybody. I think it'll be Blue Devils, Mandarins, Academy, Troopers when this night is said and done. Here's just some information you need to know about Drums Across the Desert tonight at John D. Riggs Stadium at Mesa Community College in Mesa, Arizona. You see the weather here, very hot, 104 at the start time, but it's even hotter later this week. I think the highest temperature this week's 113 down in Arizona. So I guess it's good they're there tonight. Hot, but a good night for some drum corps. And lastly, Mankato, Minnesota, and the Thunder of Drums. Two all-age class corps here, Sound Sport team in Minnesota Brass. Open class, let's look for Colt Cadets and River City Rhythm. I think last night we saw River City Rhythm down in the 47s in their first show of the season. We've seen the Colt Cadets up in the 48s. I think River City Rhythm will get past Colt Cadets, at least historically. I haven't seen either of their shows, but historically that's kind of what it said, that River City Rhythm will pass the Colt Cadets. And I think that will happen. River City Rhythm's been an open class finalist. The Colt Cadets really haven't got there the past few seasons. So that will be an intriguing battle. But for everything else, there's only 3 world-class scores there. I don't really see anything. I see the Blue Stars winning a show tonight. Colts 2nd, Genesis 3rd. Here's some things you need to know about the Thunder of Drums. It's at Blakesley Field in Mankato, Minnesota at MSU Mankato. You see the weather here. This is probably the best weather out of the 3 tonight. Very good, going from 84 to 78 and sunny as the night progresses. And now just a few things before I end today. Visit drumcorpscentral.weebly.com for all the latest updates from DCI and DCA. Score schedules and leaderboards can all be found there for all classes in both organizations. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you don't already, at Drum Corps Geek, and YouTube. Subscribe to Drum Corps Central. That's it for me today on Drum Corps Central, a podcast. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode recapping tonight's action and looking ahead tomorrow at Cedarburg, Wisconsin and Cranston, Rhode Island. Thank you for watching.